Welcome to the Scoop World Order. We're doubling up tonight. We got Bill the Bank Greene in the house. We're going to talk about recruiting. We're going to talk about camp season, a little bit of golf, and a little bit more. So we're going to get right into this one. As always, thank you guys for tuning in, for subscribing, for clicking that like button. If you enjoy these shows, click that alert button. As always, we appreciate you guys. And as always, shout out where you're from. You guys are doing that like crazy. I love seeing where you guys are watching from. A lot of Naples, Florida, a lot of Canton, Ohio. A lot of great parts of the country. We got a lot of great subscribers down there. So keep cranking that. Put that down in the comments. I love reading that. Gonna get right to my man, Bill the Bank Greene. I'm gonna get right into it. JJ Smith, everybody's scared. I'm not scared. I don't think you're scared. Just in terms of the flipping and visiting Georgia, visiting Bama, visiting New Hampshire, Penn State, Antarctica, what do you make of it? I think it's just smart gamesmanship by JJ. Is there anything to it? What are your thoughts on it?
No, I don't think there's any gamesmanship at all to this. I think it's intelligent on his part. If you look at the, look at the college coaches across the country, most of them do not stay with their first job, right?
Huh?
They've all got 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs in their careers, and it's smart for coaches to do that. They move up, they take what's best for their family. So I don't think it's gamesmanship. I think it's really JJ and his family protecting themselves against, if things go differently at Ohio State, then they've kept the relationships up with Georgia, with Bama, with Miami. If Texas, Steve Sarkisian falls off the wagon and Texas offers Brian Hartline the head coaching job, what do you think he's going to do? I think he's going to take it. Bill Belichick tells the Patriots, I've had enough, and the Pats decide Ryan Day should be our next head coach, and we'll give him 5 years at $12 million a year. What do you think he's going to do? He may take it. You know what I mean? So, and these parents they see this going on. So I think it's smart on their part to stay engaged, keep the relationships. If there's a coaching change, then you've still kept up these relationships, and you don't have to scramble on December 1st. What if Ryan Day loses to Michigan again this year and their Ohio State is 8-4 or 7-5? Is he in trouble? I wouldn't think he would be, but I don't know. There's just so many variables to this. And usually it's like the college coaches talk about, commitment and, being a man of honor. And it's like, hey, dude, you've had 6 jobs in the last 9 years, so don't tell me about commitment, okay? So I think it's smart on JJ's part. I don't think it's gamesmanship. I don't think he's doing anything other than making sure that Ohio State is still Ohio State. And if Ohio State is still Ohio State in December, he's going to sign with Ohio State. And I think Hartline's going to be at Ohio State for the foreseeable future. I think Ryan Day is going to be at Ohio State for foreseeable future. So I think they're going to sign J.J. Smith, at the first signing day. So do I think there's anything to worry about? No. And do I think he's going to continue to take visits? Yes, I think he will.
Yeah, and I agree with your sentiment, and I think it's smart by these kids to do it because the only thing that's constant in college football is change. And I was there when Jim Tressel got the bullet from Gene Smith and those guys, and he'd come off being 12-1, and we beat Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl, and then Urban Meyer retires, and because again, it's not always like a guy has a bad. Something bad can just happen. It doesn't. I mean, Jim Tressel was coming off a year where we won the Big Ten and we beat an SEC school in the Sugar Bowl and they whacked him. Urban Meyer just said, "I don't want to coach anymore. I'm retiring." So, that throws everything into a blender. And it's like, if you're a JT Barrett running quarterback and all of a sudden Ryan Days, if you're Tate Martell and all of a sudden Ryan Days, all of a sudden you don't have a job. So it's better to go look around and find a guy who's got a scheme that you can fit into. And obviously JJ's different because he fits in any scheme. But, I think it's smart to just, because you never know who you're going to see where. Like, Jeff Monken just won the national title as the OC at Georgia and everything's hunky-dory. And then he gets offered that job with the Ravens and he's gone. He's like, see ya. I'm going to go coach Lamar in the league. And, and again, like Ryan Day, I mean, he's had a been at Boston College. He's been at he got fired at Philly. He got fired at San Francisco. I mean, he had 2 jobs in 2 years. He was on the breadline when Urban Meyer hired him. Chip Kelly said, "Hey, consider my guy to be the quarterback's coach." And Urban trusted Chip Kelly, hired him. And, and again, Ryan's not an Ohio guy. He's a guy, he's done a good job, but he's a Northeastern guy. And if he said, put a gun to his head, you give him a couple scotches and say, "Hey, what's your dream job?" Coach of the Patriots, man. I mean, and the way that quarterback gurus are sought after, and Mac Jones has another crap year, and they go 0-16, and Caleb Williams is the #1 pick. I want to go get Ryan Day to develop him. I want to go get a quarterback guru to teach that kid how to be an MVP level quarterback.
And then in the NFL, Ryan Day will tell his GM, "Go get me some players."
Oh.
In college, you got to go get your own players. What percentage of the job, you were there, what percentage of the job in college is recruiting as compared to coaching? Is it 50-50? 50% time recruiting, 50% coaching?
It's probably 80-20 towards recruiting, because you recruit all year round, and you're recruiting.
Coach in the NFL, you coach your dudes, and it's the GM's job and the scouting people's job to find the right dudes for me. So it's so much easier. I mean, college coaches in June have the most horrible month of their lives, eating dust every day, trying to recruit kids, trying to host official visits, camp days. You know what the NFL coaches are doing in June? They're playing golf.
Yep.
That's a good time. OTAs mixed in. Those are nothing. I mean, the job, life of an NFL coach, to me, is better than the life of a college coach. So, but I don't think Ryan Day is looking to leave. I really don't. I think he's very happy at Ohio State, and they should be very happy to have him. But like you said, the one constant is change. You never know what could happen. I mean, things can change on a dime. I thought Jim Tressel would be a 20-year coach at Ohio State.
Yep.
And things change. So I don't think JJ's messing around, or I think he's doing his due diligence. And you put a gun to my head today on May 31st. He's signing with Ohio State. Yeah. Something crazy is going to have to happen at Ohio State with Hartline or with Ryan Day for him to not sign at Ohio State.
Yeah, and to me, coaches, they're only as faithful as their options, which I totally get. And they're as faithful as, if one of these guys' best friends gets a head coaching gig in the NFL and they say, "Hey, Brian Hartline, I want you to be my offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins," then all of a sudden you're just like, well, Columbus has been great, but and you said June was the worst month, and it might be now with official visits in June, but May, these guys leave on Sunday night from their airport in Columbus, and they're flying on Southwest. They ain't flying on the private jet like Ryan or Urban did. They're on Southwest Airlines flight to Miami, and then they get home on Friday afternoon. And I mean, May is terrible for these guys. And when you're in
it runs right into June. It runs right into June. The camps, the official visits, and it's just it's not the easiest life when it's compared to the NFL. I looked at the Ohio State camp. I got the schedule. They have camps on June 8th, June 12th, June 14th, June 15th, and June 20th. They have a 7-on-7 on June 21st, and wrapped around all that are all these official visit weekends where you got kids coming in, and you better sign them kids. You know what I mean? It's not pulling games on those official visits. You better, those are kids, you better lock them up. That's your job. And then you also have to be on your toes at camp. And it's just hard. It's hard. Like you say, it started May 1. The real grind started May 1. But then they also had spring ball in 8. I mean, there's no non-grind. You get 3 weeks maybe in July where you can breathe. It's hard. I mean, none of those guys are complaining. They all make good money, but man, I mean, a lot of the coaches that go to the NFL, man, they don't come back unless they have to. Unless, a promotion, a head job, you're going to take that. But a lateral move from NFL to college, man, you don't see that very often.
No, I mean, you get that NFL life, man. That is living. Oh, it's a good. I mean, as a player, it's a great life because you're not going to school. You're off. Like you get done in December. I mean, I was on teams that missed the playoffs. You're off for 3 months. Nothing. No winter conditioning, no 6 a.m.s. No, you're at home for 3 months working out on your own. You come back, like, body feels amazing because you haven't been put through mat drills and winter stuff and Mickey Marotti, trying to kill you. And again, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but anyone that's been in the NFL versus college knows that the NFL is where it's at. I mean, that is that's the bee's knees. We've got quarterback stuff. I think you're thinking like I'm thinking with Tavion Sinclair. He's probably going to be our next commitment. It could probably happen any minute now, any day now. He's at a 7-on-7 and Wampa, Connecticut with our boy Ryan Montgomery. Is he our next commit bank in all likelihood, just given the fact that he was offered? And, a kid like that, I don't know how long he can sit on that offer without pulling the trigger.
I would have thought he'd have been committed by now. So if he commits, during this podcast, it won't surprise me. He should be committed now. I wouldn't play around if I'm him. You know what I mean? No. He's not Dylan Raiola, who can play with all these schools and they'll all keep begging for him. That's not the case with Tavion Sinclair. He should take it today. Oh. I think the production speaks for itself from what Ryan Day can do for quarterbacks. Unless he's scared to compete at this level, and then, go to the MAC or go to Virginia Tech or something. But I don't see how he doesn't take this offer and take it now, take it yesterday. Yeah. Lock in your spot. You know what I mean? They would still chase the Underwood kid. I think, you're not going to give up on that kid until he tells you, leave me alone. So, but I think Tavion Sinclair will be in this class. I think it'll be soon.
If they take Tavion Sinclair, does that shut the door on Ryan Montgomery? Is it pinched open? Would he be open to a 2-quarterback class? Because again, like, he's had the offer for a year and a half now, and he could have taken it at any moment. And he's still hunting around. And again, these guys are gonna look for their best situation where they can be productive. And obviously, he's got the same quarterback coach as Drew Aller out at Penn State. Drew is a superstar. What does it do to Ryan Montgomery if Tavion Sinclair commits?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't know. I mean, because with Bryce Underwood still lurking, and I think Ohio State is in tremendous shape with Bryce Underwood. Tremendous shape there. If I had to choose who I think the favorite is for him, I think it's Ohio State. Great visit recently there. The offense fits him to a freaking T. Sure. And then when he looks like who's in front of him, it's not Justin Fields. It's not Dwayne Haskins. It's Lincoln Kienholz, who's a good player in his own right. And then Air Nolan. And I don't think, Air's good, but Air's not Dylan Raiola. So I don't think Air Nolan scares off Bryce Underwood, nor would Lincoln Kienholz. So, we'll see. But then if they lose Bryce Underwood, do they go 2-quarterback class and try to still get Ryan Montgomery? I don't know then. I don't know. Are those kids basically the same player? I don't know. That's great. That's going to be a good one to follow. But I think they chase Bryce Underwood all the way to signing day, or until he commits somewhere else and tells them, stop calling me. I mean, he's that good. I saw him in person. The film is amazing. I see C.J. Stroud. I see Caleb Williams. I mean, Bryce Underwood, man, that's a dude I'm going to chase until he gets a restraining order against me. I'm chasing him.
Yeah, he's that guy. I mean, he's the guy that's the franchise changer. And it's like you talk about, like, for him, that depth chart. And again, when you go to anywhere, there's going to be quarterbacks in front of you. But how young are they? Is it like a freshman phenom like Caleb Williams is, and he's a freshman, he's got 2 years left before he can declare for the draft? Or are they, guys that are, kind of plan. I mean, again, I don't like to call anybody a plan B guy, but when you're not the first guy they offer or the second guy they offer, then you're dipped down a couple tiers. Like, when they take Dylan Raiola's commitment a year ago, and then he leaves them at the altar, and then they come down to you and they offer you again. It is what it is. And Aaron Nolan might be the first pick in the draft in 3 years. I might look like a total idiot, but when we do these tiers, it's not to insult a kid. It's just, when did Ohio State go on the kid? When did he give him a committable offer? Was it, because you offer a kid as a sophomore and he's the 5-star left tackle, Laramie Tunsil, then he's a tier A guy. And then, a guy like me, and I'm going to say me because you can't insult me, I'm fine. I was the guy they took late. I was a tier B or C guy. Now, you gotta change that perception when you actually get on campus, because you get the same workout gear and the same opportunity. But they didn't want me as much as they wanted other guys early. And again, that's fine. That's their evaluation. It's whatever. But that's kind of when Bill and I talk about tiers and Plan B, it's not an insult. It's just, look, when did Ohio State offer the kid? I mean, because they offer some of these quarterbacks when they're freshmen, first day of the sophomore year, and then there's some guys that they offered a month ago at spring practice, and so there's different tiers.
Yeah.
Like I've been in the recruiting room at Ohio State. They have a board that stacks, and it's by position. It'll say number 1 quarterback, Dylan Raiola. Then it'll say this, and there'll be a gap. It'll say Aaron Nolan, and so again, it's not to insult the kids, but that's just how it is. I mean, you rank kids, and when you offer a kid and he doesn't take it, then you get to offer another kid, and you're kind of spurned, but it is what it is. Any consternation with air, a lot of smoke to Oregon, looking around, is that just diligence again?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want to see him actually take these visits. They don't make sense to me. Oregon has quarterback committed. They might have 2 quarterbacks committed. LSU's got their guy. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I think Ayer's maybe talking a little bit and maybe not going to act on it. I think J.J. Smith can take visits anywhere he wants tomorrow, and Ohio State has to accept it. They have to accept it. May not like it, you got to take it. Aaron Nolan? I don't know, man. I don't know if Ayer should be as a committed recruit to the Ohio State University. Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, Corey Dennis, those guys. I don't think Aaron Nolan should be playing around taking other visits. I think he's playing a dangerous game. He can be replaced. Okay? You can find another quarter. You can get ticked and tell Ayer, you're out of the class. You want to take visits? Go take visits. We don't need you anymore. You're not doing that to J.J. Smith. So I think Aaron Nolan is playing a very dangerous game. I think he's in a tremendous spot, and I think he should just be happy he's got a chair. Because if you get out of your chair and start dancing, you may lose your chair. So I don't think Aaron Nolan will be taking these visits. I think at some point sanity prevails and someone goes to him and says, what are you doing? Ohio State has taken your commitment. You need to shut it down. Shut it down. Lock it down. And beg that Dylan Raiola doesn't want to come back, and then you get knocked out of the class. Or maybe Julian Sand gets tired of Alabama tomorrow, and you're out visiting LSU, and Julian Sand wants to commit to Ohio State, you're going to be out. Ayer better just sit tight. It would be my advice to Ayer. Yeah. And, we both know people that know him, really like the kid. They love that kid as a person. Yeah. Well, he better sit tight and be thrilled that he is in the Ohio State University's class. I would not advise him to take any visits. I think it'd be foolish.
I totally agree. As you know, there's a pecking order. There's a tier list. If you're JJ, and plus, JJ's a receiver. You take 4 receivers in a class. Like, you only take 1 quarterback, maybe 2. If you're trying to hang on to signing day to get that superstar, supernova kid like Underwood is, like, then you take 2. It's kind of like we had Jack Miller committed for 3 years, and then right at the finish line we say, oh, by the way, we're taking the CJ Stroud kid who ends up being the 2nd pick in the draft. And
they took CJ in November.
Yeah. So I mean,
Jack was committed the whole time, and Jack Miller, man, I knew I wrote him off the minute they took CJ Stroud. I knew Jack Miller's days were numbered, and but Jack Miller was committed for months to Ohio State. Didn't matter, man. They find someone better than you, it ain't good. And Aaron Nolan, by taking visits, might give Ryan Day a reason to go get another quarterback.
Yeah.
You look, we look.
Yeah. And that's the game. I mean, that's the game. You're playing a dangerous game because
J.J. Smith can play this game, and he can get away with it. There ain't much they can do about it. You know what I mean? None of those O-line commitments should be taking other visits.
No,
They should
no
be thrilled
way.
with class, right? Thrilled
Yeah,
to be coming to Ohio State. I'll do
yeah,
everything I can to help recruit the class, and I think Air is in that position.
yes,
If James Peoples wants to take visits, you won't like it, but you're probably going to have to deal with it.
yes,
Other guys, they better sit tight. Keep that
yeah,
chair. Don't leave the chair. That's
and
my
that's
advice. Don't leave the chair because the music may stop when you're standing up.
yeah, and that's again, and that's part of the risk. If you want to go look around, it's like if you're married to somebody, especially if you're a quarterback, and they're taking one, they're taking your commitment. Like, don't go on a date night before the wedding, and then all of a sudden, okay,
Yeah.
wedding's off and it's whatever. You lose the oil heiress position, and now you're marrying the girl that works at Arby's. So camps start June 8th. Bank, how are camps now? How are they different? With the advent of the portal, with NIL, with kids, I feel like there's kids like last year, the offensive line kids that went to camp didn't even work out. Like Luke Montgomery and those kids, they did like a private workout. I never heard of such a thing. Like the senior guys show up and they just kind of work off to the side and they don't go against the D-line. How have camps changed? Have they gotten better? Have they gotten worse? Is it tougher to get older kids to come to camp? Because I feel like a lot of like Tyler Atkinson, I don't know if he'll be up here this year because he's already got the offer, but how have camps changed over the last 5-10 years? Are they better? What do you get out of going and covering an Ohio State camp live at the Woody Hayes?
I love going. I mean, to me, it's the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it's just you get to see kids up close and personal that are out-of-state kids for the most part, that you can watch their film, but you don't know who they're competing against. When they take Hero Canoe and they have him go against an O-line commit, it's the greatest thing in the world to watch that, from 5 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get out of it. I love the best on best aspect, when you can see Brandon Ennis and Carnell Tate out there going against the big time DBs in America. I mean, that's what I get out of it. I think that part is amazing. I don't know that camps have really changed all that much, to be honest. I mean, to me, it's still, the best part is just seeing the best on best part of it. And, it's a different look at kids because we see them play football. You watch that film, you can watch them play football, but to actually see them run a 40, to see them go through cone drill, to see him one-on-one trying to cover someone. I mean, that's really what I love seeing is all the best on best aspect. And I can remember camps from a long time ago. I still talk about Josh Perry. He had a camp performance that was one of the best I've ever seen in terms of a run and jump athlete. Josh was tall, long, quick. He may not have had the career that maybe I thought he was going to have after I saw him in camp. I mean, but it's fun to watch a kid go through drills, see how athletic you think he is, and then try to marry that up with his game film as you try to put the whole puzzle together of, how you evaluate these kids. And that's probably the part of this job I love the most. I love seeing little Jimmy and trying to see if 24/7's got that ranking right. Do I think that ranking is correct or do I think it's incorrect? And do I think little Jimmy should have offers from Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and everybody? Or do I think the kid is like an overhyped kid that doesn't deserve, that's just the fun part of putting it together. And when you can see these guys from 5 feet away, as opposed to game film, when you don't know who they're playing against, I mean, I love it. That's what I get out of it. And I think for Ohio State, I think it's a chance for the older kids that they've offered, if they come to work out or if they don't work out, man, you got a chance to spend all day with those kids. And then when you see those sophomores that come that you kind of thought they were interesting, but you're not sure. And then you get to have that kid all to yourself for one day, put him through any drill you want to put him through. and it either confirms, yes, this is a guy we need to go on, or let's put him off on that next list. We'll watch his film this year, as a junior. That's the fun part. And then there are times when I've seen kids show up who nobody really knows who they are. They're a name on a list. And it's like, holy cow, who the heck is that kid? We thought he was 6'1". He's 6'4". He doesn't look that fast on film. We made him run the 40 3 times, and all three of them are 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong as can be. He can change direction. All of a sudden, he's not a name on the Plan C list anymore. That dude we need to know who that guy is. We saw, oh my God, the receiver from Florida. Remember Winston?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He was like
Winnie Watkins. Yeah.
Winnie Watkins. Like, man, this guy's got to go from the off field to the main field.
Yeah.
He needs to work out in front of Ryan Day.
Yeah.
So that's the part I love. It's just, and then, that you can talk to the parents, kind of get information of what really is going on behind the scenes here. And they're just fun days. They're really fun days to spend. I look forward to it. And, it's big for Ohio State. It's a big recruiting tool.
Oh, yeah.
And, whether the kids work out or not, guys that you have offered, you don't need them to work out. If it's Brandon Baker, you just want him on campus, man.
Oh, yeah.
Take his official visit. If it coincides with camp, you don't have to work out, dude. We're good with you. Just come hang out with us so we can talk to you constantly. And that's fun too, to see kids on official visits that, don't really work out, but they're there for business. So it's a fun month for me. I know the coaches probably hate it, but it's fun for what I do. It's just a blast.
How much of it, how many times have you seen a kid in person? You look at him, you watch his film from last year. It's been 8 months since he's played. And all of a sudden he's not as fat, or he's heavier, or he's muscular, or he's more explosive. How many times have you had to go back and either just can the tape because it's defunct now that the kid's in better shape, or the kid's faster, bigger, stronger, leaner? Because, a kid could gain 30 pounds from a sophomore to junior year and and get faster and muscle and hit puberty. And, how many times have you been surprised by those guys? Like, oh my God, that's the guy I watched on tape I thought was okay. And then he shows up to the camp and he dominates the one-on-one pass rush, or he dominates the one-on-one wide receiver DB drills. Like, how many times has that happened to you? Is it often?
Often. Yeah, often. I mean, I can go all the way back to Darren Lee, who just kept coming back to camp, and he just kept looking better and better and better, to the point where, how can you not offer this kid? What are you doing here? You know what I mean? So Josh Perry, who I mentioned, Josh Perry at camp was not Joshua Perry on junior film. Different human being in camp. Taller, bigger, faster, quicker, change of direction better. It was like, who is this guy? Like, I watched Josh Perry's film. Back then, at those times, I was doing the Ohio rankings, for scout.com and then into 24/7. And it's like, my ranking is wrong. My ranking is incorrect. Joshua Perry is 42 in Ohio, and he will be, when I get home tonight, he will be number 9 in Ohio. Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah. Kids change, man. Kids change. When we're watching film on these high school from their junior year from last October.
Yeah.
Now it's June. I mean, they're different human beings. Kids change rapidly at that age. You know what I mean? And that's the fun part too, is I may have seen a kid play in person in September and have an opinion of that kid. And then I see him at camp, and he's locking down J.J. Smith. And it's like, this is a different human being. This is a different, and we saw that at the Under Armour camp a couple of weeks ago. Tavian St. Clair was a kid that I wrote about. He didn't have an Ohio State offer at the time. I wrote about Tavian St. Clair, that this kid was really good. He's a different kid than what I saw on tape. Now, I did not think Ohio State would offer him, but I was super impressed with that kid. So, and the nice thing was Ryan Day's son, RJ, was at that camp. Tony Alford's son was at that camp, which allowed them to be at that camp. Kind of an NCAA loophole that they took advantage of. So they saw the same Tavian St. Clair that I saw. And he was pretty good. Terrion Nichols was another one. Terrion Nichols was a different human being in that camp than what I saw on film last year. He was good. He was good last year, but I saw an exceptional. What I saw, this is before Ohio State even offered him. When I did my write-up on the camp, it was like, this dude is not far off of Bryce West and Aaron Scott. He's right there. And I thought he was better than Miles Lockhart. So, and then within a couple of days, they're offering. They're seeing the same things I'm seeing, and their eyes are a lot better than mine when it comes to football and when it comes to vision. So, any camp setting where it's best on best is amazing. You know what I mean? When you look at those camps, when Tony Alford's there and Ryan Day's there, yes, they're there to see their kids, support their kids. But they may have one eye on RJ, but that other eye saw Bryce Underwood throw the ball, saw Tavian St. Clair throw the ball, saw Ryan Montgomery throw the ball. They're all in the same group. Saw Garrett Stover go through the cone drill. And you can see he's not a safety. Heck of a linebacker prospect, though, but you can't play him at safety. You play him at safety, you're going to hear the band playing. We saw enough of that last year. Safety's getting locked up on wideouts when they're not really can't cover well. They cover like safeties, and you hear the band playing.
Yeah, you give me PTSD right now. Well, I'm going to cut this thing, man, because I know you had a hard stop, but, man, I appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Bank, as we lead into camp season? You got the chat tomorrow?
No, eye surgery on Thursday and chat on Friday.
Okay, perfect. Well, good luck on your surgery, my man. Appreciate this. This is a great show.
My final thought before you go here is I know people right now are kind of down on Larry Johnson. He kind of got smoked last year in the end on, Keon Keeley, Damon Wilson, Mateo Uiagalelei. So people are kind of down on Larry Johnson, but I think he's set up right now. There's a lot of kids visiting, official visits in June. And I don't think things are as bleak on the D-line right now as maybe some people are feeling that they are. So that would be my final thought is let Larry Johnson he's not retired yet. And, let him do his thing here. I think he's going to pull a heck of a D-line class, especially on the D end, especially on the edge guys. I think he's set up to pull 2 or 3 that are pretty special players. So I think, just chill out on the D-line a minute and let Larry Johnson do his thing. That would be my final thought heading into camps and official visits.
Don't get him too excited. That's a great one, Bank. Well, dude, I appreciate that. That's awesome. We'll ring this thing up, man. I appreciate you, Bill, the Bank Greene, bringing the heat tonight. Great show as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in. BuckeyeScoop.com. Bank is going to be on the ground covering those all day, every day. Super excited about that. We're going to have some really good stuff coming from camps, good footage, the whole deal. So appreciate you guys as always. If you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, and also click that little alert bell so you guys can log in here and check us out every night. Appreciate you guys as always. If you enjoy this content, BuckeyeScoop.com is our new home for the best, man. I mean, Bank's bringing it like crazy. We got some big expansion stuff coming. Getting a little team workout update put together. We've been hitting them sources, so we got some good stuff coming. So appreciate you guys. So join BuckeyeScoop.com. It is that time of the year. Camp season, workouts. You guys want the inside scoop? That is what we bring you. So we appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Make sure you shout out where you're from. As always, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. Go Bucks.